Okay, it's now 3:30, September 17th. We're going to call the Committee of Adjustment to order. So members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment by attending the meeting in person at the Ilderton Community Center. No, let's stroke that out. Here at Coldstream on Ilderton Road. Members of the public may also access the meeting, which will be live streamed on our Middlesex Center YouTube channel, or by contacting the municipal deputy clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. Members of the public wishing to appear as a delegation can register for the meeting by visiting middlesexcenter.ca/participating council meetings, or by contacting the municipal deputy clerk at 519-666-0190, our master number, by 4:30 p.m. on the Monday of the week of the scheduled meeting. All requests to delegate are subject to the provisions of the Middlesex Center Committee of Adjustment Procedure Bylaw. Members of the public can choose to delegate in person or by electronic participation. Accessible formats and communication supports are available at Common Crest. So the first piece of business is consideration of new chair. So I've been the chair for about 1 year. It's time to rotate to another person. So I'm going to turn to Councillor Coles to read out the motion and move it, please. There we go.
Thank you, Councillor Burrs. This appointment follows the successful completion of Councillor Burrs's term as the chair for the Committee of Adjustment. And the motion is that Councillor Cates be appointed as chair for the Municipality of Middlesex Center's Committee of Adjustment effective immediately, and that Councillor Cates remain as chair for a total of 6 months, at which time a new chair will be appointed.
Okay, would you move that, please? Look at that, a mover. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Arts, okay, all in favor? That's carried. Councillor Cates is now the new chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, as there's no additions to the agenda to note, is there, for disclosure of pecuniary interest, any members of the committee, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest to note? None? Okay. This is not yellow. You don't need to. Okay. So we need an adoption of the minutes, and I'm looking for a mover and a seconder for the motion before us, please. Jean, Frank. Okay, that the minutes of the July 16th Committee of Adjustment meeting be adopted as printed. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so the current applications, members of the public that wish to receive further notification of any of the minor variance applications being considered today, I ask that you please send an email to planning@middlesexcenter.ca requesting further notification. Please be advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record. If you have any questions on any of the applications being heard today, we ask that you direct those to the appropriate planner on file. Members of the public that have requested to speak will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address council and provide comments on the application. In keeping with our procedural bylaw and our R-zone policy, I would remind all of our meeting participants to use respectful language and uphold our values of cooperation, trust, and openness. The order of procedures of proceedings. The procedure will be the same for each application, and the order is as follows. The chair will ask the planner to explain the purpose of the application and hearing, and to present the staff report. The applicant or their agent has the opportunity to speak to their application. The public who have registered to speak or are in attendance will be asked for their comments. Please state your name so that it can be noted in the meeting minutes. The municipal clerk or planner will note additional comments received from circulated agencies and the public not included in the planning report. The committee will then ask questions of the applicant and/or staff. The chair will then consider motions regarding the application. So item 6.1 is an application for minor variance, A17 2025, 10698 Lamont Drive. And Dan Fitzgerald is the manager of planning for the County of Middlesex, is in attendance to provide an overview on the application. Dan, you're up.
Through the chair, thanks, members of the committee. So the purpose and effect of application for minor variance A17 2025 is to seek relief from Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to expand a legal nonconforming use on the subject parcel. So the lands are an existing agricultural parcel. It is zoned A1, and it is designated agricultural in both the county's official plan as well as Middlesex Center's official plan. As part of the existing zoning on the lands, only one dwelling is permitted to be on the lot. However, in this particular case, the lands already contain two existing dwellings, being single detached dwellings, meaning that this lot is considered legal nonconforming by way of having those two existing residences. In this instance, the applicant is seeking to add an addition to one of the dwellings, which is this non-conforming use as per section 4.20 of the zoning bylaw. Therefore, they do need to seek a minor variance to permit that expansion on the lands. So in this particular case, the applicant is seeking to expand the existing dwelling by approximately 60 square meters or 645 square feet. The variance was reviewed against the requirements of the Planning Act. Staff is of the opinion that the expansion would not change the non-conforming status and finds that the increase is considered minor in nature as no additional non-conformity on the lands would occur. For the reasons as stated in the planning report, staff are recommending approval of minor variance application A17 attached 2025. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Is the applicant of agent in attendance in person or online to comment on this application? Did you want to come up here to, do you have something you'd like to say? Okay, thank you. And is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment on this application? Nope, okay. Members of the committee, are there any comments or questions? All righty. So we need a mover and a seconder for the motion before us that minor variance application A17 2025 filed by Elise Reed on behalf of Deborah Lorenz Reed for relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to expand a legal non-conforming use to permit a 60 square meter addition to an existing single detached dwelling municipally addressed 10698 Lamont Drive for a property legally described as part of Lot 11, Concession 6 South in the municipality of Middlesex Center, County of Middlesex, and municipally known as 10698 Lamont Drive be granted. And further, that the reasons for granting the minor variance application A17 2025, the request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's official plan. The request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw. The request is minor in nature, and the request represents appropriate development on the subject property. Do we have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Coles, Councillor Beers, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Okay, application 6.2 is an application for minor variance A18-2025 at 35 Wood Lily Lane. Dan Fitzgerald is in attendance to provide an overview of the application. Dan, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose and effect of this application for a minor variance is to seek relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw as it does relate to the setback required for pool equipment. So the subject lands are located in the community of Ilderton. The applicant in this case is seeking permission to reduce the minimum rear yard setback requirement for the pool equipment to 0.4 meters, which is about 1.3 feet. Whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 1.5 meters or 4.9 feet. So the applicant in this case does intend to place the pool equipment in the rear yard behind an existing accessory building in the backyard. The lands are designated settlement area in the county's OP, residential Middlesex Center's OP, and they are zoned residential first density exception 1 in the bylaw. They are generally surrounded by low density single detached dwellings on all sides. And I would note we have reviewed the proposed reduction against the 4 Planning Act tests. Generally, staff are not anticipating any negative impacts with the reduction as access for maintenance will still be maintained. Therefore, staff are recommending approval of the minor variance application A18-2025. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Connor Wilkes, the agent, will be in attendance virtually to comment on this application. Do we have Connor online? Connor, can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Your Honorable Chair and members of committee. And thank you, staff, for your work on this file. I'm just here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Connor. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this application? Nope. Okay. Members of the committee, are there any comments or questions? Councillor Coles?
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to Connor, I do have a question for you as the agent on this file. Just regarding the neighbors, have you had a chance to speak to the neighbors there, specifically on Periwinkle? Since I'm assuming there would be some noise from the pool equipment and it is close to their property. So I'm just curious if you've talked to the ones that specifically 3430 Periwinkle and then your neighbor 31 Wood Lily.
For you, Chair. So the pool heater is actually existing. My client was closing out their permit for the pool, and that's where this was triggered, that the pool heater was closer to the property line than the minimum requirement. With that being said, there is an existing fence there that buffers any noise, and we've not heard any comments or concerns from the surrounding neighbors.
Thank you for answering my question.
Okay, so if we can have a mover and a seconder for the motion before us, that minor variance application A18-2025 filed by Connor Wilkes on behalf of Jason Johnson for relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to establish a minimum rear yard setback of 0.4 meters for pool treatment equipment for a property legally described as Lot 33, Plan 33M 513 in the municipality of Middlesex Center, County of Middlesex, and municipally known as 35 Wood Lily Lane be granted. And further, that the reason for granting the minor variance application A18-2025, the request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's official plan. The request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw. The request is minor in nature, and the request represents appropriate development on the subject property. If I can have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Coles and Councillor Arts. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, next up, we have 6.3, an application for minor variance A 19-2025, 15347 Plover Mills Road. Dan Fitzgerald, the manager of planning for the county of Middlesex, is in attendance to provide an overview of the application. Shouldn't I go to Dan first before I say this? Dan, if you're ready, thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, thanks, members. So the purpose in effect of this application for minor variance is to seek relief from the bylaw as it does relate to the construction of a deck that's located within the interior side yard of this property. So the applicant is seeking permission to encroach a deck into the minimum interior side yard setback requirement. So as applied, the application would permit an encroachment of 1.524 meters, which is approximately 5 feet. Into the west interior side yard, whereas the bylaw does not permit encroachments into the side yards for decks. The subject lands is located towards the eastern extent of the hamlet of Bryanston. Due to the elevation change in foundation design, an interior side door meant to provide access to the side of the dwelling is elevated above the ground level, necessitating the requirement for a deck into the side yard. The applicant is then requesting to extend that deck into the rear yard to attach to a deck on the rear of the property. The lands are designated agricultural area in the county's official plan, Hamlet and Middlesex Center's official plan, and they are zoned Hamlet residential first density in the zoning bylaw. I would note the lands abut single detached residential dwellings to the north and east, agricultural lands to the south, as well as institutional lands to the west that are intended to be used for a future park. The proposal was reviewed against the 4 tests of the Planning Act. Staff is of the opinion that the requested variance could be considered minor in nature, as access is still being provided to the rear yard, and the elevated deck would not interfere with the stormwater and grading on the lands. As such, staff do recommend minor variance A 19-2025 be approved, subject to the condition that the deck only be permitted to encroach into that interior side yard setback. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Is the applicant or agent in attendance in person or online to comment on the application? Nobody? Okay. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment on this application? Okay. Members of the committee, are there any comments or questions? Councillor Arts?
Through your Madam Chair, I guess it's a question for Dan. Is it already built or half built? Because I went by there and I saw some stuff along the side, so it's not going to be any more than what it is, than what I saw.
You have to let him speak.
Oh, there he goes. Through the chair. Sorry, I was waiting for my button. That's okay. My understanding is, yes, it is partially built at this particular point in time.
Anybody else? I had written a comment here to say, but now I understand there was a doorway, and so it kind of needed to be, and it's already built. My comment that I have on almost a 100-foot wide lot, and you need to have your deck go over so that you're only 1 foot away from your neighbor. That was my comments, but I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so do we have a mover and a second? Oh, do we do that first, or do we do it at the end like I have been? Mover and a seconder now?
Mover.
Now. Okay, so can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Arts? Councillor Beers, that minor variance application A 19-2025 filed by Alexander Pacheco on behalf of Carlos Sousa for relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to permit an encroachment of 1.524 meters into the west interior side yard for a property known municipally as 15347 Plover Mills Road, legally described as part of Lot 8, Concession, London Concession 11, Part 1 of Reference Plan 33R 20880 in the municipality of Middlesex Center, County of Middlesex be granted, subject to the following conditions. That only the deck be permitted to encroach into the interior side yard setback. And further, that the reason for granting minor variance application A 192025, the request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's official plan. The request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw. The request is minor in nature, and the request represents appropriate development on the subject property. If we can call the vote, all in favor? Okay, and that is carried. Next up, we have 6.4, application for minor variance A 2025, 24144 Narren Road. And Dan Fitzgerald, Manager of Planning for the County of Middlesex, is in attendance to provide an overview of the application. You can go ahead, Dan. Thank you.
Through the chair, thanks, members of the committee. So the purpose and effect of the application for minor variance is to seek relief from the zoning bylaw as it does relate to the construction of an accessory building in the format of a detached garage, which would be located in the rear yard. So the applicant is seeking an increase to the maximum lot coverage permitted for an accessory building to 162.5 square meters or 1,750 square feet. Whereas the bylaw permits the lesser of 110 square meters or 3% lot coverage in the agricultural A1 zone. So the subject lands is located generally in an agricultural area. It is bordered by agricultural uses to the northeast, dwellings to the northwest and southeast, as well as a cemetery to the southwest. The lands consist of an existing single detached dwelling as well as a detached accessory structure at the rear and the associated private services. The applicant is proposing to remove the existing accessory building from the site and replace it with a new accessory building just behind the current location. The lands are designated agricultural in the county's official plan and Middlesex Center's official plan, and they are zoned agricultural A1 in the zoning bylaw. So the lot does represent a large rural residential lot located in an agricultural area. The proposed increase in size is not considered to be inconsistent with the character of accessory buildings within the rural context. Additionally, the applicant's stated use for the said structure is for personal use only. The request was reviewed against the four tests of the Planning Act. I do not anticipate any negative impacts from the increase in size of the accessory building, as one already exists on the land of a similar size and scale, which again will be removed. Therefore, staff are of the opinion that the proposal could be considered minor in nature and recommends approval of the minor variance, subject to the condition that the building be constructed in the same general location as shown on the plans. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Is the applicant or agent in attendance in person or online to comment? Did you have something that you want to? Okay, here for questions. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment on this application? Okay. Are there members of the committee? Are there any comments or questions? Councillor Arts? You, Frank, too?
Through your Madam Chair to Dan, it said it were existing legally non-conforming structure. Could you explain that one for me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Very fancy planner linguise. That basically just means it's an oversized accessory building that technically doesn't comply with the bylaw standards of today. So at the time it was approved, it likely did comply with the zoning standard, but under today's bylaw, it no longer complies. Hence why he needs the variance to replace it.
Thank you. Any Councillor Beers?
Not a question for the applicant, but through you, Chair, to Dan, we got to come up with minimum criteria for drawings. This was a little bit, took me a while to, nothing to do with this application, but maybe going forward, we can demand a better sketch of what's going on there. It took me a while to catch on to that. Okay? Just a suggestion.
Button.
Oh,
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so, can I have a mover and a seconder for the motion before us? Councillor Coles, Councillor Bears, that minor variance application A 2025 filed by Brad Green for relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to permit a maximum gross floor area of 162.58 square meters for all residential accessory buildings for a property known municipally as 24144 Narren Road, legally described as part of Lot 8, Concession 8 in the municipality of Middlesex Center, County of Middlesex, be granted, subject to the following conditions: that the accessory building be constructed in the same general location as shown in the applicant's sketch attached to this report. And further, that the reason for granting minor variance application A 2025, the request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's official plan. The request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw. The request is minor in nature, and the request represents appropriate development on the subject property. If we could call the vote, all in favor? Okay, so carried. And now we'll move on to 6.5, application for minor variance A 2025 12892 15 Mile Road. And Dan is the lucky winner. Manager of Planning for the County of Middlesex is in attendance to provide an overview of the application. Please, Dan.
Through the chair, thanks members of the committee. So the purpose and effect of this application is to seek relief from the bylaw as it does relate to the construction of an accessory building in the format of a storage shed or hobby shop, which will be located in the rear yard. So the applicant is seeking an increase to the maximum lot coverage permitted for accessory buildings to a total of 99 square meters, which is 1,065 square feet. Whereas the bylaw permits the lesser of 60 square meters or 3% lot coverage in the Hamlet residential first density zone. The effect of this variance would be to permit the establishment of a new residential accessory building, again in the format of a storage shed or hobby shop, in addition to keeping the existing accessory structure that is currently located on the lands. So this parcel is located on the edge of Denfield. It is bordered by residential dwellings to the north, agricultural lands to the east and south, and an institutional lands in the format of a cemetery to the west. The lands are designated agricultural area in Middlesex County's official plan, Hamlet in Middlesex Center's official plan, and they are zoned Hamlet residential first density in the zoning bylaw. The applicant's proposal does seek to construct a new accessory structure that's located in the rear yard, while also maintaining the existing accessory structure located on the northern interior side yard. Due to the size of the lands and the location of the buildings, I do not anticipate any negative impacts to the adjacent parcels. Staff are of the opinion that the variance is considered minor in nature and that it can be supported. As such, I am recommending approval, subject to a similar condition that the accessory building be located in the same general location that it is shown on the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Is the applicant or agent in attendance or in person or online to comment on this application? Nope. Okay. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment on the application? All righty. Members of the committee, are there any comments or questions? Councillor Coles?
Through you, Chair, to Dan, I had a question just regarding any trees being removed on the property to put in the shed.
So through the chair, I'm not aware of any being removed. They didn't identify them on their plans, but it may be possible if it's in the location where the accessory building is going.
Anybody else? Okay, so if I could have a mover and a seconder for the motion before us. Counselor Arts, Counselor Beers, that minor variance application A21, 2025, filed by Steve McCauley for relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to permit a maximum gross floor area of 99 square meters for all residential accessory buildings for a property known municipally as 12892 15 Mile Road. Am I on the right one? Yeah. Legally described as part of Lot 28, Concession 15 South, Part 15 on Reference Plan 33R 13916 in the municipality of Middlesex Center, County of Middlesex, be granted, subject to the following conditions: that the accessory building be constructed in the same general location as shown in the applicant's sketch attached to this report. And further, that the reason for granting minor variance application A21, 2025, the request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's official plan. The request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw. The request is minor in nature, and the request represents appropriate development on the subject property. If we can call the vote, all in favor? And none opposed. Okay, that's application is granted. Next up, we have application for minor variance A22-2025, 2106 Highbury Ave. Dan Fitzgerald, the manager of planning for the County of Middlesex, is in attendance to provide an overview of the application. Can go ahead, Dan, please.
Yeah, so through the chair, the purpose and effect of this minor variance application is to permit an increase to the maximum permitted lot coverage for an accessory building. The applicant is seeking to increase the maximum lot or size to 145.67 square meters, or 1,567 square feet, whereas the bylaw permits the lesser of 60 square meters or 645 square feet, which is represented as 3% lot coverage. So the effect of the variance would be to permit the construction of a detached accessory building in the format of a garage hobby shop for personal storage, as well as a covered outdoor area on the back. The lands are located on the north end of the hamlet of Ballymote. It is bordered by residential dwellings to the north, south, and west, and agricultural lands to the east. The land does consist of an existing single detached dwelling, a detached accessory structure, and the associated private services. The applicant does intend to remove the existing structure to accommodate the new accessory building on the lands. It is designated agricultural area in the Middlesex County's official plan, Hamlet in Middlesex Center's official plan, and it is zoned Hamlet Residential First Density Zone in Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw. Staff have reviewed the proposal against the 4 tests of the Planning Act. The size of the lot, as well as the location of the building in the rear yard, are not anticipated to have a negative impact on adjacent parcels. Given the intent is for personal use for the residents, staff are supportive of the variance and recommend approval, again, subject to the condition that it be located in the same general location as shown on the attached plan. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Is the applicant or agent in attendance in person or online to comment on the application? You're here? Thank you. Would you like to come up and address us with anything? You're just here for okay, here to answer questions. Thank you. Yes. Is there anyone from the public here? We already know who's here. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment on the application? Nope. Okay. Members of the committee, are there any comments or questions? Counselor Arts?
Through you, Madam Chair, it was just a comment. I realize it's for personal use. Sometimes we have people build sheds like this and decide they're going to run a business out of it, but the applicant said it's personal use, so I'm okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Arts. Anyone else? Nope. Okay. So no more. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the motion before us? And I read this first, right? Say this and read.
You can get a mover and second.
Now, okay. Okay, I find that way confusing. Okay, mover and a seconder, Councillor Coles, Councillor Arts, thank you. That minor variance application A 2025 filed by Stephen Holtz for relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to permit a maximum gross floor area of 145.67 square meters for all residential accessory buildings for a property known as 21602 Highbury Ave, legally described as part of Lot 8, London Concession 7 in the municipality of Middlesex Centre, County of Middlesex, be granted subject to the following conditions. That the accessory building be constructed in the same general location as shown in the applicant's sketch attached to this report. And further, that the reason for granting minor variance application A 2025, the request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's official plan. The request complies with the general intent and purpose of Middlesex Center's comprehensive zoning bylaw. The request is minor in nature, and the request represents appropriate development on the land property. We'll call the vote. All in favor? None opposed. That is carried. You're welcome. There is no correspondence today to note. Is there any other business? No, new business? Okay, so that means that it's time for adjournment. The motion before us is that the Committee of Adjustments for the Municipality of Middlesex Centre adjourns the September 17th committee meeting at, I can't see that, 4:06. Thank you. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coles, Councillor Bears, all in favor? And that's carried. And the committee is adjourned.